Today is a beautiful day to dive into the absolute whirlwind of secrets, lies, and betrayal brewing in Port Charles. We are so glad you could join us as we dissect a massive, game-changing theory that is about to shake the very foundations of the Ashford family. Get ready, because things are about to get incredibly intense. I cannot shake the feeling that we are heading toward an absolute bloodbath of emotional devastation, and the center of this brewing storm is none other than Portia. It seems like Portia has just stumbled upon a biological nightmare that could tear her entire world apart at the seams. Rumors are swirling that she has secretly run a DNA test on her unborn child, and the results have apparently come back with a devastating truth. Curtis is not the biological father. Just imagine the sheer, suffocating panic coursing through her veins as she stares at that piece of paper, realizing that the stable, loving life she fought so hard to rebuild is built on a foundation of shifting sand. We have watched her struggle to keep her family together, but this is a secret so radioactive that it could incinerate everything she holds dear in a single second. But could it be that the truth is even more twisted than we ever dared to imagine? If you ask me, the real nightmare begins when Isaiah accidentally gets his hands on those highly confidential medical records. We know Isaiah is already dealing with the fallout of his ruined surgical career, but what if he looks at those genetic markers and realizes a truth that leaves him utterly breathless? This means that Isaiah himself might actually be the biological father of Portia's baby. The implications of this are absolutely staggering, and it paints a picture of a complicated past that none of us saw coming. How will a man who has lost his profession, his purpose, and his future react when he suddenly discovers he has a child on the way with his rival's wife? No one expected a simple medical chart to become a weapon of mass destruction, but that is exactly what we are looking at here. If Isaiah is indeed the father, the psychological toll on him must be agonizing. He is a man standing on the edge of a cliff, and the temptation to claim his own flesh and blood must be eating him alive. But we have to ask ourselves, is he going to do the honorable thing and keep quiet to protect Portia's sanity, or will the sheer shock of this revelation push him to make a desperate move? If you ask me, the tension between his moral compass and his deep desire for a family is going to drive him to the absolute brink of madness. Meanwhile, Curtis is not going to remain in the dark for long, but the way he finds out might be the most chilling part of this entire theory. What if an anonymous, shadowy figure sends him a tip-off that Portia is harboring a massive, marriage-ending secret? I suspect Curtis's mind will immediately jump to the worst possible conclusion, and if you ask me, he is going to point his finger directly at Isaiah. He will believe his rival is actively trying to steal his family, his wife, and his future. The rage that will consume Curtis is bound to be terrifying, blinding him to the truth and forcing him into a dark, obsessive investigation that will only push Portia further away. But wait, because the plot thickens in a way that makes my skin crawl? While Curtis is busy hunting down Isaiah, Jordan might be uncovering a completely different kind of horror. Could it be that the horrific car crash that nearly claimed Curtis's life months ago was never an accident at all? This means that some unseen monster deliberately sabotaged that vehicle with the sole intention of putting Curtis in a grave. Jordan's investigative instincts are second to none, and as she digs deeper into the wreckage, she is going to find evidence of cold, calculated sabotage. The realization that someone wants Curtis dead is going to send shockwaves through the entire community. If we connect the dots, the truth might be exposed in a way that completely shatters the Ashford family legacy. Who would want Curtis dead, and who would benefit from destroying his marriage to Portia? I am highly suspicious that a hidden, toxic member of the Ashford family is pulling every single string from the shadows. Could it be that this very same relative is the one who forged the DNA results and sent that anonymous tip to Curtis? This is a level of manipulation that is almost too evil to comprehend, suggesting that someone close to them is playing a sick, twisted game of chess with their lives, using their deepest insecurities as weapons. The tension is building to an absolute fever pitch, and I predict that the day Portia goes into labor will go down as one of the most disastrous events in the history of the hospital. Picture this. Portia is in the delivery room, screaming in agony, while outside, Curtis and Isaiah are locked in a vicious chest-to-chest confrontation. The secret is out, the DNA results are exposed to the entire family, and the raw fury is threatening to tear the hospital walls down. The timing could not be more catastrophic, and the emotional fallout is going to be absolutely devastating for everyone involved. And then the lights go out. A sudden, terrifying blackout plunges the entire facility into pitch black darkness. It seems like the universe itself is punishing them for their sins, but the timing is far too perfect to be a coincidence. With the backup generators failing and Portia experiencing life-threatening delivery complications, the situation turns into a literal matter of life and death. The panic in the dark will be palpable, and the sheer terror of losing both Portia and the baby will bring the bickering men to a sudden, grinding halt. This is where Curtis will face the most agonizing, soul-crushing choice of his entire life. Portia is dying, her baby is suffocating, and the only surgeon in the entire building with the specialized skills to save them is Isaiah, the very man he believes slept with his wife and stole his child. If you ask me, Curtis will have to swallow his pride and beg his sworn enemy to save his family, knowing that doing so might mean handing them over to him forever. The sheer drama of this moment is what soap operas are made of, and the emotional weight on Curtis's shoulders will be almost too much to bear. Let us assume Isaiah manages to perform a miracle in the dark, saving both Portia and the newborn. But the emotional damage is already done. I can easily see a broken, devastated Curtis deciding to walk away, voluntarily giving up his parental rights because he genuinely believes the baby belongs to Isaiah. He thinks he is doing the noble thing, stepping aside to let this new family exist without his anger poisoning them. It is a sacrifice born of pure grief, leaving Curtis completely hollowed out and alone, while Portia is left to pick up the pieces of a shattered life. But just when you think the drama has reached its limit, the writers are going to hit us with a twist that will leave our jaws on the floor. What if the DNA test that started this entire nightmare was a complete lie? Could it be that the results were maliciously falsified from the very beginning? This means that Curtis actually is the biological father, and they have all been played like puppets by a master manipulator. The tragedy of Curtis walking away from his own child based on a lie is almost too painful to contemplate, and it will set up a massive reckoning. If this theory holds true, we are looking at the dawn of an all-out family war. Once the truth is exposed, Curtis, Portia, and Isaiah will have no choice but to put aside their immense grief and betrayal to hunt down the Ashford relative who orchestrated this nightmare. Will they be able to heal the fractures in their souls, or has the damage already gone too deep to ever be repaired? Who is this mystery relative, and what is their ultimate goal? The answers to these questions are bound to keep us on the edge of our seats for months to come.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.